Frederick Douglass was more than a man, he was a movement. Born into the violent grip of slavery, Douglass rose to become one of the most influential voices of freedom, equality, and justice in American history. He was a self-taught scholar, an electrifying orator, a fearless abolitionist, and an unwavering champion for the rights of both Black Americans and women. His journey from bondage to statesmanship remains one of the most extraordinary American stories ever told. In this documentary, we will trace the remarkable life of Frederick Douglass, explore the battles he fought both in public and within himself, and uncover the enduring impact of his vision for a just society. Early life and escape from slavery. Frederick Douglass was born Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey in February 1818 Talbot County, Maryland. Like so many enslaved children, the identity of his father, an unnamed white man, was kept from him. He was separated from his mother, Harriet Bailey, shortly after birth, only seeing her a few times before she died when he was about 7. As a child, Douglass was sent to Baltimore to work for the Auld family. It was here that his destiny began to change. Sophia Auld, unfamiliar with the brutal codes of slavery, taught young Frederick the alphabet. Her husband soon forbade the lessons, declaring that literacy would ruin a slave. But it was too late. Douglass had tasted the power of words. Through secret reading sessions with discarded newspapers, books, and even signs, Douglass educated himself. He described this process as both enlightening and torturous. Learning to read exposed him to the full cruelty of slavery, but also revealed the path to freedom. In 1838, at just 20 years old, Douglass executed a daring escape. Disguised in a sailor's uniform and carrying false identification, he boarded a train headed north. He arrived in New York City, then settled in New Bedford, Massachusetts, with his soon-to-be wife, Anna Murray, a free Black woman who played a vital role in his escape. Taking the surname Douglass, inspired by a character from Sir Walter Scott's The Lady of the Lake, he began a new life as a free man, a rising abolitionist. Douglass's eloquence and intellect quickly captured attention. In 1841, he delivered his first speech at an anti-slavery convention in Nantucket. The audience was stunned not only by his story, but by his powerful voice and presence. William Lloyd Garrison, the fiery editor of The Liberator, invited Douglass to become a speaker for the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. Douglass traveled across the North, delivering speeches that shook the moral conscience of the nation. Crowds were often shocked. Many couldn't believe a formerly enslaved man could speak so convincingly. Some even accused him of lying about his past. In response, Douglass published his first autobiography in 1845, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. It was a searing account of his life under slavery, detailing beatings, deprivations, and moments of rebellion. The book became a bestseller, but it also exposed Douglass to new dangers. Slave catchers could now identify him. To avoid capture, Douglass traveled to Britain and Ireland, where he was welcomed as a respected thinker and activist. During his 2 years abroad, he spoke at packed halls, debated with ministers and politicians, and witnessed a society that, while far from perfect, offered him a dignity he never knew in America. Supporters raised funds to legally purchase his freedom, and in 1847, Douglass returned to the U.S., ready to fight on his own terms. The North Star and independent advocacy. That same year, Douglass founded the North Star, an anti-slavery newspaper based in Rochester, New York. Its motto boldly declared, "Right is of no sex, truth is of no color. God is the Father of us all, and we are all brethren." The paper became a powerful tool for spreading abolitionist ideas, exposing racial injustice, and advocating for women's rights. Douglass understood the importance of controlling the narrative. Through his newspaper, he could set the agenda, challenge prevailing myths, and inspire activism across multiple fronts. His editorial voice was sharp, persuasive, and unrelenting, but he was not without conflict. His evolving political philosophy led to a break with William Lloyd Garrison. Garrison believed the Constitution was an inherently pro-slavery document and advocated for disunion. Douglass disagreed. He came to believe the Constitution could be interpreted as a document of liberty and used as a tool for reform. Allies in controversy. Douglass's alliances were as dynamic as they were complicated. He respected and admired John Brown, the radical abolitionist who launched the 1859 raid on Harper's Ferry. While Douglass supported Brown's cause, he declined to participate in the raid, fearing it would fail and lead to bloodshed without real results. After the raid collapsed, Douglass fled briefly to Canada to avoid implication. His relationships with women's rights leaders like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were also significant. Douglass championed women's suffrage, appearing at the historic Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, but tensions emerged when Douglass supported the 15th Amendment, which granted black men the right to vote but excluded women. He argued that black men faced immediate threats to life and liberty and needed the vote to protect themselves, an argument that led to a painful fracture in the suffrage movement, the Civil War, and the battle for black citizenship. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Douglass saw it as a divine reckoning, a chance to destroy slavery once and for all. He tirelessly lobbied President Abraham Lincoln to enlist black soldiers in the Union Army. Douglass believed that military service would prove African Americans' worthiness for full citizenship. In 1863, after the Emancipation Proclamation, Douglass helped recruit troops for the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, one of the first official black units in the Union Army. Two of his own sons enlisted, tangible proof of his belief in the cause. Douglass met with Lincoln several times during the war, urging him to take bolder action on racial equality. Though he respected the president, Douglass also criticized him, especially for his slow approach to abolition and reluctance to push for equal rights. But after Lincoln's death, Douglass praised him as a transformative figure who had grown in moral vision during his time in office, Reconstruction, and political life. After the Civil War, the battle for justice continued in new forms. Douglass advocated fiercely for black voting rights, education, land ownership, and legal protections. He understood that freedom without equality was hollow. He held several prominent positions during Reconstruction, including U.S. Marshal for the District of Columbia and Minister Resident to Haiti. These roles gave him access to political power, but also revealed the limitations of symbolic representation in a country still resistant to racial justice. The promise of Reconstruction was ultimately betrayed. White supremacist violence surged. The Ku Klux Klan terrorized black communities. Laws were rewritten to disenfranchise black voters. Douglass, now an elder statesman, spoke out against the retreat from equality and warned of the dangers ahead. Still, he remained active, giving lectures and writing prolifically. His final autobiography, Life and Times of Frederick Douglass, published in 1881, reflected on his long journey and the ongoing struggle for justice, legacy, and enduring influence. Frederick Douglass died in 1895 at the age of 77. His death marked the end of one of the most remarkable lives in American history, but his legacy has never faded. His writings continue to educate, provoke, and inspire. His speeches like "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" still resonate as some of the most powerful critiques of American hypocrisy ever delivered. His insistence that power concedes nothing without a demand remains a guiding principle for struggles for justice around the world. Douglass reshaped the moral and political conscience of the nation, proving that an individual armed with truth, courage, and conviction could challenge entrenched systems of oppression and force America to confront its own contradictions. His ideas continue to echo wherever people fight for freedom, dignity, and equal rights. In honoring Frederick Douglass, we remember not only a man, but a mission. His vision of a just America is still being pursued today. The road is long, but his words light the way.